This is Tea and Talk, a self-development podcast. A podcast dedicated to empowering, uplifting, inspiring, and celebrating women. I'm Tiffia Stokes, your host, as well as women's health advocate, blogger, vlogger, and author of Grow Through It. Everyone has a story, and not everyone's story will start or end the same, but you can't judge a book by its cover. Sometimes it may take a few pages, chapters, or even a series to get you to the climax. You will get there if you continue to walk in the path you were destined to walk and keep turning those pages. It's time for you to end that chapter of your life that is holding you back, causing stagnation, self-doubt, self-hate, and negative self-talk. All you have to do is turn the page, sis, and start to write a new chapter. They say a woman is like a cup of tea. You can't tell her strength until you put her in hot water. Well, the water is hot, sis, so let's see your strength. Grab your tea and get comfortable and join me as I get into it on this episode of Tea and Talk. Okay, so avoiding conflict is definitely different from ghosting. Ghosting, you or whomever just, sees all contact. Avoiding conflict is still being in whatever relationship, but not speaking your truth when it is necessary. The first thing we have to revamp is how we see conflict. Most people will view conflict as something bad or as a negative. Conflict doesn't have to be a negative. It is how you go about it that makes the difference. Many will avoid it in an effort to avoid pissing someone else off. This self-development journey that I am on has been so awesome, refreshing, and liberating. I've been on this other journey now of saying what is on my mind when it is on my mind. Such things as if I'm bothered or I don't agree with what someone says or what someone does. It is uncomfortable, but everything that is good for you isn't always going to be comfortable. I can't expect others to be able to mind read when something they say or something that they do is bothering me. The only and most effective way to go about avoiding this sort of conflict is to say exactly what it is. Conflict can be most definitely scary. This is because when you have conflict, you may have feelings of despair or feelings of fear, and with that, feelings of pain. It isn't the normal to have the discussion with your child on how to have healthy conversations, but after being on the self-development journey and just researching and getting better in tune and aware with myself, I feel that having that discussion with your child is important so that they can then grow up and know what it is to have a healthy conflict and healthy communication. When we avoid conflict, what we are actually doing is dealing with the conflict internally and in our heads and justifying that talk as resolution to the conflict. We never give the other party the opportunity to speak, respond, or weigh in. You are storing all the anger, resentment, and frustration up, which can impact your mental and even your physical health. That's why I like the saying, get it off my chest. Because to me, that means you are feeling the negative impact physically from internal conflict. And when you work to resolve it, the physical heaviness from your chest lets up and resolves itself. But we avoid it because those feelings we feel emotionally and mentally with the slightest mention of it are worse than the physical feelings of chest heaviness to us. We are afraid of those feelings. We may be afraid of how we will look to others. And when we avoid it, we also avoid joy, love, happiness, and definitely growth. We may avoid conflict because we may be unaware of or unsure of what we need and want from bringing up the issue. We are unsure of the outcome we are seeking. We may be afraid of rejection from the other party for standing up for ourselves and taking the time to discuss the conflict. We may be afraid to hurt the other person's feelings. So instead of making them uncomfortable, we stay uncomfortable. When you do this, you're showing acceptance. Whatever conflict you have that you may have bit your tongue for, the other party will now look at you as accepting it. There is a such thing as healthy conflict. And when you have healthy conflict, it helps both parties better understand one another and connect on an even deeper level. How do you stare conflict right in the eyes? Make sure that you are hearing exactly what the other party is saying. Are you hearing them correctly, or are you drawing your own conclusions? Ask questions if you aren't quite sure. Think of the reasons you may be avoiding the conflict in the first place. Does it make you anxious? Have you had bad experiences in the past? Whatever the case, you have to determine if the cons of keeping those feelings in will really outweigh the pros of that situation. More than likely, they will not when you think of the long term. Prepare emotionally and mentally for the confrontation. You want to be able to state to the other party exactly what the conflict is. Remember that you don't want to neglect yourself in an effort to give others the comfort of feeling at ease by avoiding the conflict. Determine what you are looking for when it comes to resolving the conflict. If you are just looking to blame the other party or prove them wrong, then this shows some resentment that needs to be worked on before moving forward with this. But if you are doing it because you value the relationship and you want to continue to grow in that relationship or work on it, then this is a great option. Try not to let so much time pass between the conflict and the confrontation. You don't want those feelings to ruminate and fester, so address the other party at your earliest convenience. Confront the other party in a non-judgmental and non-argumentative way. Try to avoid using you statements and instead use I statements, such as I feel instead of you did. This avoids causing any tension that may eventually lead to an argument. Be clear and concise on your position in this situation. Give the other party the opportunity to speak and weigh in on what you have said. Don't listen to respond, but really let yourself listen with an open mind and an open heart. Dealing with the conflict will assist you in becoming a better communicator. When you deal with the conflict at hand, instead of ignoring, running, or deflecting, your soul will thank you for it. Releasing that energy opens your soul up for goodness and peace. Be sure to give me a rating and your feedback at the end of this episode. I would love to hear from you. Be sure to click the links in the description to learn more about how you can be part of the Tea Party VIP group and get more of Tea and Talk plus additional offers, including a free copy of Grow Through It. To follow me on IG, click the link in the description. I'm so excited to talk to you all next week, so keep tuning in, and until next time, love and good vibes.